Welcome to Cricket World TV Hotspot with me, John Pennington, and joining me once again is Rob Johnson. Hello, Rob.
Hi, John.
And we're a little bit of a delay between us, but we'll crack on as we're going to look back at the Abu Dhabi Test match, a dramatic draw in the end, and then look ahead to the second Test in Dubai between England and Pakistan. Rob, just give us your views on that first Test, because for 3-4 days, even most of the fifth day, it looked like it was meandering towards a draw, and then it really came to life in the final few sessions, and England almost pulled off a miraculous win.
Yes, that's right. And I think before the series, I wrote that the games in the subcontinent really do turn very quickly in the last perhaps day or day and a half. So the prime example of that, a game meandering to a draw quickly. So again, something for both sides to bear in mind when they get to Dubai. But it will give England a lot of confidence that they can put Pakistan under pressure if they can take the game into the fourth and fifth days.
And how critical do you think we should be of that pitch? Because prior to that final day, it really looked like an absolute belter to bat on, and the bowlers were made to work very, very hard for their wickets, weren't they?
Yes, there wasn't some of the commentators. I mean, it just seems to me to be a bit of an anomaly pitch, flatter than maybe intended, and certainly flatter than Pakistan wanted. So I think it's a bit of an anomaly. But then actually when on the final day, when it did start to turn, it started to really deteriorate quite quickly. So yeah, I mean, we nearly had a miraculous result really, but I think, pitches generally have to have a better even balance between bat and ball. But I think you can just write that one off to a bit of an anomaly and move on to Dubai, which should, by all accounts, have a bit more pace and bounce in it, which will help both the seamers and the spinners, I think.
Yeah, talking about spinners, how good was it to see Adil Rashid first of all get his chance, and then get some wickets in the second innings? That's got to be a huge positive to give him some confidence going into the second Test.
Yes, absolutely. In the West Indies at the beginning of this year, Rashid probably should have had at least a game or two, particularly in that last Test match in Barbados, which would have been, with all due respect, a bit of a gentler introduction. But it takes a lot of character to come back after, I think it was 0 for 163 in the first innings, and to take 5 hits, it was a true show of character from Rashid. And I think what it gives England now is that it gives them a completely different option on pick when they get the game for the final 4 days. So yeah, I think his performance was excellent, and it's really good from England's point of view.
And obviously a huge innings, both in terms of runs and sort of stature from Alistair Cook, 263, because never mind how flat a pitch is, sometimes if a team scores 500 plus, the sort of scoreboard pressure can put a team under a lot of pressure. But he really stood up and led England's reply so well, didn't he?
Yes, and I think that was a real big moment for England's team, because obviously Cook was the mainstay, but there were also good contributions throughout the order. And in the recent past, England, when they've been confronted with these big totals, have seemed to sort of just completely go to pot and have a really bad session. I think, at Lords in the Ashes, they did that. So it was really good to see, because, on these pitches in the first 2-3 days, it's going to be excellent for batting. And Pakistan, with their batting lineup, will be, making big scores. So for England to stand up was important, I think, for the series. And Cook's innings was
And yeah, you talked about we're expecting the pitch in Dubai to have a little bit more life into it. What about changes for either side? Yasir Shah's got to come in for Pakistan as well, but any other changes you think will happen?
Yeah, I think Yasir Shah is obviously going to come into the Pakistan side. The seam bowlers. I know that Azhar returned to the side after recovering from injury, unfortunately after the passing of his mother-in-law. So there might be a change in the batting with Shazad coming in for Masood at the top of the order, but that remains to be seen. For England, potentially Mark Wood might miss out, but I think to drop a seamer after sales on that Abu Dhabi pitch will be a bit harsh. So it's likely that he'll probably keep his place, and no changes for England, I would have thought.
And what about some of the key battles? I'm imagining that England's batsman against Yasir Shah is going to be a key one. Perhaps Pakistan's batsman against the new ball again, because Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad were quite impressive. Any other sort of key battles that you think might just turn this one?
Well, I think actually the game particularly is going to focus on Yasir Shah, but I think England's middle order is the issue that might come into play here. And I wrote before the series about that, because in the first game, obviously Shah wasn't around, so when they were coming in, they were facing Babar and Malik, but they're not threatening bowlers as much as Shah is. So it'll be interesting to see how Stokes and Bairstow and Butler cope with a sharply spinning ball right at the start of their innings, when Shah will be bowling against them. So I think how England's middle order copes with that will go a long way to decide who wins that Test match.
And we'll finish with our predictions. Robert, I think you're going to go for an England win.
I am just. I think Shah's place in the side just really. England obviously had the better of the first Test match, but I think will add a completely different dimension to the Pakistan team. So I expect it to be a close game, and I expect it to go in today again. But I think the way in that first Test will give them confidence. So yeah, I'm tipping them.
Yeah, I'm going to go for England as well, Rob. I think a couple of things for me: the way that they batted on past Pakistan's big total, and then almost conjured up a win out of nothing. They're the team with some confidence, and I think I predicted a win apiece and a draw, so we've had the draw, so I've kind of got to go for one team or the other in this one, so I'm going to go with an England win as well. So there we are, we're predicting an England win. It'll be fascinating to see how this one turns out. Rob, thanks very much for your time once again. Apologies about a few technical issues, but I think we've got plenty out of you, so that's great.
Thanks, John.
And thank you very much for joining us here on Cricket World TV.